walked away from the house drunk. You know, they lost because they had time to
Right.
drink, right? So he comes home one night and he says, walking home, I noticed that the road was weaving, but fortunately I was in sync with it. But when I got to the house, I was stunned because the house was spinning around and around. And I was stunned at this. And I tried to step on the porch and off it would go. Off it goes. So I took time and figured when the porch was on the other side and dove, and sure enough ended up on the porch. Olivia heard the thump and she came out and looked at me and said, "Youth, would you come into the parlor?" And this is the first time I had ever seen this. Olivia had a twin. I wondered where she kept her. Maybe in the closet. So I followed them into the parlor, not knowing which one to look at, which one was the one I was married to. And she says, "Youth, I want you to promise me something. I never objected to you drinking whiskey, but when you've had enough whiskey, will you ask for sassafras?" She said, "Well, Olivia, when I've had enough whiskey, I can't say sassafras." Or sassafras, you know. The grove of mossy ocean elms, where I holiday hill. Incredible amount of idiots in Hannibal. They weren't homegrown, they were imported. Idiots are like magnets, they're drawn to each other. And first off, they have no idea that they're idiots. And what would happen, the reason they got so many is they would say to people in St. Louis, "How do you get to West?" And the people in St. Louis would say, 2 miles up here is the Missouri River, takes you west. Well, because they're idiots, they'd get to talking and miss it and end up in Hannibal. Sherwood Forest was born, fought the battles of Robin Hood. In our favorite secret place, we get our weather clothes down. They got to Hannibal. See, he was born in Florida, Missouri. And when they got to Hannibal, he was only 4.5 years old, and his mother sent him off to school. And he's brilliant. The first 4 months, he advanced to the 4th grade reading. Wow. Because he discovered and figured out hurried, because the father read to him every night. And his Uncle John, when he'd go visit his Uncle John had the funniest life ever, and he'd tell stories, and he was the one that discovered that Clemens loved to be the center of attention. Oh my God, his father never hugged him, but he'd arrive at Uncle John's farm, and Uncle John would come out and pick him up and hold him up to heaven and say, "Look at this, God. This is the second best one you ever made." Our tin drum guitar was always begged us please to get to school and play Hannibal on the Mississippi. He'd say, "Little Sam, your Uncle John's bucket's entirely empty. Why don't you tell me about your day, little fella?" And I'd step forward and I'd tell him all about my day, with much humor and exaggeration and lies and lies and lies. And he'd bend over in laughter, and his long blonde hair would hide his face, and his laughter put wings on my little imagination.